Have you tried diet after diet without finding long-term success? Well, believe it or not, it's not you. So many people think they know what they need to do to get healthy, but there's so much misinformation out there that many of us are sabotaging our health goals without even knowing it. Hi, I'm Carrie, a wife, mom, educator, and certified nutrition coach. After being frustrated by dieting and all the confusion out there about what actually works, I decided to figure it out. And what I discovered on my journey challenged everything I thought I knew about nutrition. And the solution is actually much simpler than you realize. So now, I'm on a mission to disrupt everything you think you know about nutrition too. Welcome to the Diet Disruptors Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Disruptive Nutrition's Trifecta Transformation. If you are really ready to see different results, you have to do something different. Our invite-only exclusive program is unlike anything you've ever experienced before. Think of it as nutrition and life coaching thrown together with unwavering targeted support, personalized programming, and a way to finally organize, well, your entire life. Because if we can't do something forever, we shouldn't be doing it now. So we have to teach you how to show up differently for yourself in ways you likely haven't ever done before. We don't tell you what to eat. We teach you how to fuel your body in the way that it needs. We don't tell you what to do. We show you, coach you, and support you to make sure it works for your life, your schedule, for your goals. But teaching you how to eat isn't enough because we know it's our thoughts and our beliefs that dictate our actions. If you don't take this journey of self-awareness with us, you won't recognize your triggers and your mindsets that might be holding you back. The relationship you have with your body, with food, and with your value all stem from your beliefs and what you tell yourself. If we don't support you in that part of your journey, knowing how to eat will never be enough to make lasting change. And let's face it, life is crazy and we can't always control our circumstances. Busy women tend to put themselves last when the chaos ensues, and we end up back where we started, frustrated, defeated, and tired. While you may be feeling motivated at one point, experience reminds us that motivation doesn't last, and eventually we just give up when things get too hard. That's why with our Trifecta Transformation, we will teach you how to keep going even when the motivation wanes. And we do that really well. We have a saying around here, you can't always control your circumstances, but you can control your response. And we show you how to do just that. Our success rate is high, and that's because what we teach is right. It's simple and it's transformational. But it's also because we only invite those who we believe are truly committed and ready to make the change. So if you are interested, go to our website at disruptivenutrition.com and book a free call with a coach today to see if this approach is a good fit for you. Well, hey, Diet Disruptors, Carrie here, and just hanging out in my kitchen. I love doing my podcast from my kitchen now because I feel like I'm just sitting at the kitchen table chatting with y'all, having a conversation. And today I have somebody at my kitchen table with me who is a good friend and somebody who you are going to love, Dr. Anna Toker, who I like to refer to you as the poop doctor. But what's your actual, what do you actually tell people, the kind of doctor you are?
Asshole surgeon usually is what I say, but I do refer to myself as the friendly neighborhood colorectal surgeon. But if you want to call me an asshole surgeon, that's okay with me.
You can, whatever. But the thing is, you're just the nicest a-hole surgeon anybody's ever met before.
And that is one salient feature of my practice.
Dr. Anna has her regular segment on the NIL House Nutrition, which is the show that Mark McDonald and I co-host. And I've learned so much from Dr. Anna. And I told her the other day that I was having a colonoscopy. And I was like, hey, I'm having a colonoscopy. I wish you were going to be my doctor. Yes. But she then said to me, she has all sorts of hacks. We should talk about it. And I'm like, well, I need you to come to my kitchen and we're going to hang out and talk, because I have a whole group of diet disruptors who care about their health. They care about making sure their blood sugar is stabilized. And you know the importance of all of that. And so we thought we should do some colon cancer awareness, talk about colonoscopies, talk about poop, talk about nutrition. Let's just do it all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not? Let's do it.
And to be very honest with you, our actually number one client at Disruptive Nutrition is doctors, and it shocks me how much I teach them about what our body needs. But you are one of the most educated doctors that I know and that I get to work with around nutrition. And you teach your clients nutrition. You don't just go for the drugs.
No, we start first with the nutrition. And in fact, I can remember early in my practice where patients are like, they're coming in, they're nervous because, it's scary. You're going to have to show someone your butt. It's kind of scary. And then I'll sit there and talk to them and we'll go through a diet plan. They're like, wait, I don't need surgery. I was like, oh gosh, not first. I mean, let's try this first. And that built my practice, because most people don't understand, why would a surgeon talk me out of surgery? And so I can't talk a cancer patient out of surgery, but almost everything else I can.
You are a very rare breed in so many ways. And, we're not really going to get into this that much, but because I do want to talk about our colon and our butt and all of that kind of stuff. But just give us the quick skinny, if you will, on why it is that not only is the lack of knowledge around the nutrition piece, because we know that the training isn't really there, but just think about, what are doctors like you really required to do? And why is it that we're not going down the path of nutrition first?
Yeah, it's a dirty little secret. When I was in training, I started medical school 30 years ago. It's kind of hard to imagine. And that doesn't seem like long to me, but my education compared to what a modern doctor learns is completely different. So when I was in medical school, we were still doing nutrition first. It's medical management first. And I trained at LSU in a charity hospital where the patients don't have much money. They don't have the money for all these medicines and stuff. So you needed to educate them on why they shouldn't pick the fattest piece of meat if they could help it. Why you would stay away from the ho-hos and the Cheetos, so you had to have that conversation with these patients for them medically. And I just continued that through my practice. And as a digestive surgeon, that's of critical importance.
True. Absolutely right. So what's happening now?
Yeah. So what's happening now is, because of federal regulations and third-party payers and Medicare and all these insurance companies, there are more and more layers of paperwork that go into taking care of a patient. The amount of work that goes into taking care of a patient before they even show up is inordinate. So when I first started my practice, I could manage my practice with 2 employees. I now need 5. And yet the procedures that I do, this colonoscopy, for example, the reimbursement for that colonoscopy is down 75%. So now I have to do 4 times as many colonoscopies to make the same amount of money, but I've got 5 times as many employees. At the end of the day, no one can give their employees a raise. None of the doctors can give the employees insurance. The doctor's getting a pay cut and is now on a treadmill. There is no time for this you do this for a living, right? It is exhausting to have this conversation constantly with patients, one-on-one in particular, because many times I will have the exact same conversation 16 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have the time for that, when literally for you, time is money. And there's this whole kind of myth these days around how much doctors make. I mean, you have a med spa on top of your medical practice because you need to have 2 businesses.
You have to have ancillary income. You have to have a cash-based multiplier, if it were. So in other words, you have to have an ability for someone to make the money for you or to speak in bulk groups. And I can't bill insurance when we're speaking in a bulk group. I can educate my patients in bulk as a physician just by putting videos online. And I'll tell everyone to find my colonoscopy videos online, but I do a lot of educating online as a result. And in the insurance world, no insurance company is going to pay for that education, and
Right.
certainly not an online
But they will
format.
pay for the pharmaceutical and for those pieces of it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you were telling me this. It felt like my doctor visits were like minutes,
Correct.
and I
Correct.
wasn't just imagining things.
No, you're not imagining things, because they literally have almost no time to talk to you. You're limited to the one complaint, right? You know that routine, one complaint, and the answer is always, give me the prescription pad. What is it again? Okay, there you go. They've also trained physicians, because they've made it against the law for us to sell anything out of the office. So it's against the law for us to sell a supplement, to sell a vitamin, sell a drug. Those things are sunshine laws and stark regulations and self-referrals. The doctor can't do any of that. So I'm accustomed to writing a prescription to make a pharmacy money. I'm accustomed to doing that. That's the only thing legal for me to do. And so this is the system they set up for the American people, who are accustomed, prior to maybe 10 years ago, being able to go in, have a conversation with a physician and have a conversation. I mean, have you noticed the drug companies are now advertising to the patients, not the doctors?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Because then you go to your doctor and say, I want this. I mean, that's the whole Ozempic, Wegovy, they're asking their doctors for it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have time to do anything else. So what the hell do you like? And I hate it when patients don't have the name of the drug. Right. So okay, you're hurting and you don't want to do this. All right, I'll write for medicine. What can you take? Name something that worked for you before. Give it to me, because I don't have time. Tell me what you want.
Yeah. And so that's why we love you so much, because you're a regular contributor on our show. And then when I said, can you do a podcast? You're like, yeah, sure. You give your time. And so it's really special. So we're getting Dr. Anna in a way that you can't get your regular doctor these days. So we're super excited. So let's talk about my butt.
Okay. Tell me.
So I'm 48, and my doctor was like, okay, it's now 45 that you really need to get a colonoscopy. So I was a little bit late, and I was putting it off because everyone was like, oh, the prep, oh, the prep, oh, the prep. So first of all, why is it 45 now? And I also heard you got some prep hacks. Now I've gone through it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I took the pills instead of the drink.
Yes, that's one of them.
I got a lot of reflections on my colonoscopy that I can't wait to talk to you about. But why is it 45?
Okay, so honestly, we've been trying as a society, the American Society of Colorectal Surgeons, the Gastroenterology Society, and the American Cancer Society have been petitioning insurance companies to move up that date. 50 was actually too old. Okay. And the way, just so people can understand actuarials, this is how they came up with 50. Okay. So they basically took a timeline of everybody with cancer, took a median, and decided 50 was that median. The problem is they never reevaluated it. And as time has gone on, the age of colon cancer has shifted to younger and younger ages. Okay. And so, I have a patient with metastatic colon cancer who's 35 years old. And a few years ago, I saw a 28-year-old with metastatic colon cancer. I mean, it can be in a young age. And so we've started screening people at a younger age. Okay. And that just happened a couple of years ago. So that's why you were caught off guard. Okay? When you were just not paying attention. So
we're gonna talk a little bit about my colonoscopy, because I think it'll be really interesting to people. Yes. But I was perfectly fine. I didn't have any polyps or anything like that. My husband, though, had 2, and they sent him off and ended up being okay. But he has a history of colon cancer in his family. And, I always talk about blood sugar stabilization as the foundation for all metabolic functions in our life. And even cancer can be attributed to a dysregulated blood sugar. This is why I'm always saying to people, weight gain is actually your body just honestly loving on you, telling you there's other things going on. And it's all like, when we focus on blood sugar stabilization, we can just handle all of those pieces. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that connection. And then I'd like to get into a little bit more around the colonoscopy.
Right. And we've talked in the past, I think on the show and maybe in some of our lives with Mark about the concept of glycation, right? So the easiest way to think of glycation, if you don't already know, some of your new members may not be educated yet on this, but we checked, there's a protein called hemoglobin A1C. Now it's
people
called
will know that the A1C levels if you've ever gotten them tested, right? For your blood sugar.
What is that? That is a glycated hemoglobin molecule, right? So that means that little hemoglobin is the protein in the blood. It's floating around. Your blood sugar is super high, and a glucose molecule sticks to that hemoglobin. And then it takes a long time, a lot of sugar, chronically elevated blood sugar, for that hemoglobin to finally get to a glucose for them to marry up. So if your hemoglobin A1C level is elevated, this means you have a chronic problem. Now, this glycation is taking place not just on hemoglobin, obviously, that's just one that we check. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in your skin, in your joints, in your eyes, in your kidneys, in your colon, in your heart, in your liver. And so as your body gets glycated, these proteins become non-functional. And as they become non-functional, your body doesn't recognize them properly. It sparks this inflammatory cascade. And once you get inflammatory cascade, especially of the intestines, you're going to wind up having leaky gut, toxins in your body. That leads to liver dysfunction. Now, all of a sudden, pancreatic dysfunction. Now you get the fat. Now you get high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, and yes, cancer. So everything leads to the gut. And a lot of that is related to what is your blood sugar, honestly.
Yes. And that's why I get so passionate for people that are like, well, why do I have to worry about this if I'm not diabetic? I'm like, because it's the core function. Once you're diabetic, you've actually had lots of signs that we have a problem. But at the end of the day, if we don't understand how to balance our blood sugar, it is not, gaining weight is the least of our problems.
Correct. Gaining weight, you got to think of gaining weight as just a symptom of something bad happening. One of the things I think that I find in my patients, both in the office and then in my spa, that is very confusing to them, especially if they're our age. So I'm 55, you're 48. So a lot of my patients are over the age of 40. They remember a life when food was real. And then we cooked at home and things were fresh. You kind of made it yourself. And they don't understand why all of a sudden they've gained weight. I can guarantee you see it all the time. And it's very hard to teach these people that I know you haven't changed your diet, but it's the unseen that you're unaware of. So like the way they grow your food, the way they process your food is so different. And they put sugar in freaking everything. Oh my God, it was in everything. It's shocking.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think there's two big pieces of it, right? There's all that unknown that's going on. And because we've been on a dieting roller coaster, many of us for many years, we know our blood sugar gets more sensitive as we get older. All of this stuff is contributing. And that's why this is so important. So as we dig into your specialty and like really where you are, we know the importance of, thanks to you, like, or the rarity of having the time with a doctor like you and how blood sugar really does connect to cancer. So let's dig into my colon and the colonoscopy. What exactly did I go through? I was taking a nice nap.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, holy heck, that was the best sleep I've had in a while. And then my husband's like, yeah, you can see why Michael Jackson really enjoyed, his
little sedition.
Yeah. But what happened while I was sleeping?
Okay, I will tell you. So imagine, if you will, the colon is a 6-foot long tube. Okay. And it's got a lining. So there's an outside wall of it, and then it's got a fluffy little lining. And it is that lining that is constantly turning over. That is the lining that is exposed to all the different bacteria and the acids and the cancer causing elements. And that's all on the lining of the colon. And so those cells replicate very rapidly. And if an area of your colon replicates faster than other areas, it heaps up like a little gumdrop or a little lollipop. We call those polyps. And then if that process of hyper replication occurs in that little polyp, if something else happens, it transforms into a cancer. Okay, so what I am looking for is along the lining of the colon, these little gumdrop looking things that represent an abnormality in cell replication. This is what I am looking for. Now, the colon is a poo-filled tube. I can't see through poo.
It's just always filled with poo, huh?
It's intermittently filled with packets of poo. There's packets of poo.
Packets of poo.
No, for lack of better words, it's poo packets.
Poo.
Got it. Packets.
And
so you got
what makes me think though for a second when I think about these little gumdrops or these little polyps and what we just talked about around glycation, and as we keep putting our body in this oxidative stress because of all of our blood sugar dysregulation, it's like it all makes sense as to why when these things start like adding up, there's all this toxins and this oxidative stress and these free radicals that are roaming around in our body. Now, family history has something to do with it too in terms of your propensity to be able for that. But at the same time, so much of all of this has to do with what we're putting in our bodies as well.
Correct, absolutely. And I have had, it's a combination of environment and genetics, that old argument.
Yeah.
Environment and genetics.
I don't have any family history. And, for the last 10 years, I've really been intentional in balancing my blood sugar. I had no polyps. Do you think there's a connection there?
To a degree. So I have seen patients with no family history who are in perfect physical condition, who are nice clean eaters, and they may still find a polyp because we're not 100% sure what causes that process.
Okay.
And it's polyps that become cancer.
And I was going to say, it's not the polyp that's the issue, it's the cancer that gets in there. And so that is where more of your risk is, obviously, once it's there, but also with how we're treating our bodies, how we're
correct. So yes, it's a combination of things. And honestly, to love yourself, you're going to have to go through this colon cancer screening. I'm sorry to tell you, because no matter how healthy you are, no matter how much you think you don't have a risk factor, because we don't know everything that goes into the colon cancer issue, because you can't eliminate all toxins. No. Do you know what's in your actual water that you're drinking?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
And so, and we call this a 2-hit theory, where one hit has to happen to one cell to create a polyp. There are billions and trillions and trillions and trillions of colon cells constantly replicating. It's kind of a miracle that only 30% of patients will develop these polyps, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then in those polyps are replicating super fast. A second cell needs to have a second hit, and then it becomes cancer. So for all things considered, it's a rare event. The amount of toxins flowing around have to be quite high for it to happen. But I have seen it happen in perfectly healthy people who thought they were doing everything correct.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the flushing out that I went through, now I took pills instead of the drink. And I've talked to some people and they said, my doctor doesn't do the pills.
Yes.
Is it literally like a drug company thing with who they're associated with, or is there a difference?
You're about to open up a sermon. Okay. So, I will tell you what the situation is. First of all, a lot of the bowel prep that I write is determined by your personal insurance company, not me, the doctor. I just don't want to look at shit. I mean, just to be honest, I don't want to be looking at poo. I need to see pink tube. Okay. It's got to be perfectly clean. And so I don't care which one of the 6 variety preps we do. They all have their pros. They all have their cons. I don't care. I want you to be compliant. I want you to do the whole thing. I want you to be clean. Okay. Right? The single most frustrating thing during the last 3 years about the coronavirus era has been a supply chain issue is the first part. The vaccines were made out of a component of bowel prep. That's a lot of people don't realize that.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm drinking a bowel prep that makes me poo and you want to inject it into my muscles. Wait, how does that ever go hand in hand? So there were
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's why I love talking about it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of bowel preps that I was writing for you could no longer get because they were diverting all those resources to make
Okay.
vaccines.
Okay.
So that left us with these low volume saline preps. And the one that I used to write for and on the video that I have on my website is for something called Suprep, which is a small volume.
Suprep?
Suprep.
That's what I took.
Yeah, you took Sutab, and I will tell you why.
Okay, that's what I took.
I will tell you why they made Sutab. They made so during the Suprep situation, that company could no longer find, because of shortages, could no longer find the plastic to make the bottle for the liquid.
Wow.
But they could find smaller little pill bottles. So your Sutab is the exact same substance as the Suprep. It's just in a compressed tablet and not the liquid.
Interesting.
Now, it is hard to get a modern pharmacy to accept a coupon. So there's industry coupons. So the makers of Suprep and Sutab, they have coupons so that you should not have to pay more than $50 for this stuff. And sometimes
I paid $40, I think.
Yes. Okay. So modern pharmacies sometimes will not apply those coupons because they're not computerized. You need a human being to see the coupon and apply it. And
It's
so
so crazy just about our healthcare system.
Look, you just don't even know. I do not have time for that. We were writing 6 and 7 prescriptions because the insurance company will just say denied, 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 denied. And I will write for every single prep on the market, and they're all denied. And then you call the patient, please call your insurance company. What do you want me to write for? And I'll write for it.
Yeah.
And so I wound up meeting a compounding pharmacy that mails, a mail pharmacy.
Yeah.
And they were like, we will apply a coupon. They've got tons of the Sutab, right for the Sutab. We will mail it to the patients. They'll never pay more than $40 for it.
So that's what you're doing. But that's really the difference. They're all whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay. So the difference is what you're getting in terms of insurance and how it's all working.
It's the insurance and that sort of thing. It's just such a pain in the office.
Here's the thing that I think I pissed off my doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we're meeting and he's like, what do you do for a living? I tell him what I do. I tell him how I work with a lot of doctors and, all the things. And he tells me about all my rules. Okay. And so this is my number one question, really, truly. So I am able to drink Coca-Cola, ginger ale. I can have popsicles. I can have coffee with sugar. I could only have broth. I more broth, bone broth. I was trying to get as much protein in as I could, but by the end of the day, I was like, I cannot do this. I was like, Gatorade, anything that was not red or pink, I think it was. And because we know it was red dye, right? And we didn't want that in there. Is that why I couldn't do the red?
Yes. So red and purple, if it's artificial red and artificial purple, don't change colors in your intestines. So artificial dyes will still look the same color. So if you're eating a lot of green Jello, I will see green mucus on the lining of your colon.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And so
I could have Jello too. But let me tell you this. I was like, why is it that I could have all this garbage? I was like, this is now me. I am like, food is not good. Food is not bad. Food serves our body. Food serves our soul. But Gatorade did not serve my soul or my body. And I'm like, so I was like, listen, could I have a vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free protein shake with just lots of water? And he was like, no. I'm like, so I can have Coca-Cola, but I can't have a protein shake. And he was getting so annoyed with me. I mean, literally. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to stop right now. I went to the grocery store and I'm like, well, I need something in my system. I was so hungry and I just didn't want I had ginger ale, which tasted gross to me. I had Coca-Cola, which tasted gross to me. And just because my taste buds have changed, I used to drink that stuff like there was no tomorrow. So that's one. And two, I realized how awful it was to feel hungry. And I remembered feeling so hungry when I was dieting and I was so cranky. I was so nasty. I had no energy. So that reminded me of that. But help me understand why I could have all that garbage.
You know what? Part of it is because someone said it once 50 years ago and we keep repeating it. But the reality is that when we're looking through your colon, there's no way of getting all of the liquid, even though you're pooping what looks like apple juice, there's still fluid inside your colon.
Yeah.
And so I am there to look for the most minute of little speed bumps on the lining of 6 feet of colon when there are folds and I've only got 25 minutes to do it.
I was gonna say, how long does it take? Because I was out, I didn't even pay attention. 25 minutes?
So yeah, it's usually a 25-minute procedure.
Okay.
And so you don't have, you got to get to the end of the colon and you start looking on your way out, actually. So on the way in, your mission on the way in is let's just get to the end of the colon.
And you've got a camera, right? Kind of going on.
Yep. Oh, cool. It's a high definition.
I almost wish I was awake. Maybe can I come into a surgery with you one day? Come on, that would be fun.
Yeah. I do robotic surgery. I would love to. That'd be fun.
I would love to see somebody's colon. Okay, but why? So keep going. Why is it that I can do Coca-Cola and ginger ale?
Well, because those things are perfectly clear. Even a puddle of it is clear, which means if there's a little polyp at the bottom, imagine seeing a pebble at the bottom of the stream. When the water in the stream is clear, you can see the pebble. If you stir it up and there's mud, you can't see the pebble. And we want to be able to see the pebble. Okay, so you do want, I tell people to do protein all the time, but it has to be in a clear format. Okay. So
what kind of protein would you tell people?
So, and that's one of the reasons we allow Jello or gelatin. So you can put broth is perfect. Bone broth is fine with me.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, because right. So there's good collagen in there.
There's actually all day. I mean, it was fine until it wasn't fine anymore, to be honest. And then I'm like, I can't do it. I'm just going to bed is really what I decided.
They do make a lot of, there's a company called Isopure that will make, and it is actually a whey-based protein supplement, but it is crystal clear.
So you can do that because I know it said no cream, no yogurt, that kind of stuff. But whey-based is, dairy-based. So that's okay.
Because it's crystal clear.
So even if I had my vanilla protein powder with lots of water, because it's not clear, I couldn't have done
this is what I would tell a patient. If you can make it, and I'm drinking a collagen drink right now.
Okay.
So that I can't see through it. See, I can't see you.
Right. So that wouldn't be good.
That would not be good.
But Coca-Cola, I can't see through.
You can. I wish I had some. I wish I had some.
Okay, it's all right.
But I don't, because I don't drink that stuff anymore. But anyway, but if I were to dilute this up into a liter, then it would you would see through it, and that would be
okay. So I could have done that. I could have done the protein shake.
Sure, of course.
He was like, "This is what he said." He goes, "Listen, you could try it. Let's see what happens. I wouldn't if I were you." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna just mess with my colon like that." So I didn't do it.
Yes. So I tell patients, first of all, if you put it in a glass, let's pretend this is a glass, and I put a spoon in there to stir it. If I can see the spoon, we're probably okay. If you put an ice cube in there and you can see the ice cube, you're probably okay. So this is just slightly too cloudy. But if I were to dilute it up, I bet you it's clear enough.
Okay. I love this. All right. So you had said to me when we were doing the show, and you were like, "Listen, I got some prep hacks."
Yes.
What are some prep hacks? I mean, it's too late for me now, and I don't have to go back for 10 years.
Yes.
And that's appropriate, by the way. Sidebar: 10 years.
10 years, and someone with no risk factor, that is appropriate. Okay. Yeah, your husband will be more like 3 to 5, but still.
He's got 5 years. They said, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what are the hacks?
That's number one. Here's the sitch. Here's the sitch. Okay. First of all, some of these doctors are going on very old data where we used to prep people for 3 and 4 days. You could imagine that.
Boy, no.
Holy cow, right? And so I let my patients do the following. I've never had a problem with my prep. The first is the day before the procedure, I allow people to eat something. Make it a solid meal that is balanced, that doesn't have a lot of vegetation in it. Okay.
So what do you mean by vegetation?
Well, not grapefruit, not a salad, you can do avocado toast probably with an egg on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
I had known that. And in the morning, like when you wake up, kind of a thing. So
let's pretend tomorrow is your colonoscopy. Anybody out there? Some people listening to you, tomorrow is their colonoscopy.
Yes.
Tomorrow's your colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's your colonoscopy. Okay, cool. So that means today is the day that you have to do all the clear liquid in the prep, right?
Right.
So what I tell my patients is when you wake up in the morning, just have like an egg sandwich or avocado toast or something
Oh, I would have been
that
so
does
happy.
not have grapefruit in it or salad or vegetation or nuts or seeds that are hard to chew and therefore don't flush out of the
That
system
makes
well.
sense. It makes all makes
Okay?
sense. Yep.
It
Yep.
has to be easy to digest, easy to chew. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. Starting at 9 o'clock in the morning is when you start the clear liquids.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, find yourself, go down to whatever sports store, GNC, and get bottles of this isopure because it is crystal clear. And each bottle has like 30 grams of protein in it.
Okay.
And so now there's not a fat or a carb in that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to take that isopure and a little bit of MCT oil and some apple juice or something, boom, now all of a sudden you got an all natural PFC liquid meal. Okay.
Oh
And
my
if you
gosh.
right, and if you did that every 3 or 4 hours, like you're not.
I would have been in a totally different place. My husband and my daughter would have been so much happier because I was so cranky.
Bless your soul. I'm so sorry. I mean, and the thing is, some people are like, I gotta choose something, and it's fine. If you need to choose something, then make your own gelatin instead of the
Mhm.
stuff with all the artificial. They make just plain gelatin.
I
And
had
you
those
can
Italian ices because I was all excited. I hadn't had one since I was a kid, and it was so it felt so sugary to me. Like I was like, I
artificial.
can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. And
Yep.
so that's when it's time to kind of make your own. But
Yeah.
but you know, and mix gelatin with whatever else that you want. If your crowd is still doing electro, that's actually perfect. And I know it's slightly pink, but that's a natural pink. It's
Yeah.
gonna get
So electro, for those that don't know, is an electrolyte that I helped work on.
yes.
So if we want more information, you can go right just put a comment down. We can give it to you. But
Yes.
I actually wondered about that. I should have texted you because I knew it
Yes.
was pink and I was like, oh, I don't know. So I could have
Yeah,
done that.
and you can because when I first met Mark a
Yep.
year and some odd ago, I told them that electro would be perfect for my patients doing bowel preps because a bowel prep's very dehydrating.
Yeah.
I said, the problem is it's pink. I need to know what's in it. And so as it turns out that pink color comes from grapes
Yeah.
because it was
No,
sort of
there's nothing artificial in that. Yeah.
artificial in it.
Yeah.
And so natural colors in your colon, in your intestinal tract, will turn sort of a brownish or a greenish color. It will not be pink. And so you can
Oh,
do that. So find any hippy dippy, no artificial electrolyte solution of your brand desire
yeah.
and feel free to use that because if you were to mix that fluid with some gelatin, you're making your own gelatin that and Jello does have protein. It's a poor one, but it is protein.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so you've got some protein in that, and now you've got a little bit of a carb, and then again, add some MCT oil. These are all things that are clear.
Yeah. And that MC2 oil will help us feel more satiated. So, oh my
Really,
gosh, I almost want to go get another colonoscopy right now.
I can accommodate.
You
So
know,
if you want to,
in 10 years, you and
yes.
I, we're going to go
So
have a
I would
colonoscopy
say
party
that
together.
the next part of the hack is to, and I don't know when you did your prep, but you know, on the box, it has you do one at 10 o'clock at night, at 1 and 4 in the morning, and it's which is
No, I
stupid.
did it 3 o'clock and then 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes.
No, so I have my patients do 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock at night. Let's knock out both doses before you go to bed so you can have a normal night's sleep.
Oh my gosh, I was so exhausted. And then that was the biggest problem, just
It's
being tired on top of being
yes,
hungry.
it's
Yeah.
exactly. People
Yeah.
come in, they've got a headache, they're tired,
Yeah.
they're hungry.
Yeah.
I don't have the personality that can handle angry patients.
Yeah.
So you can be hungry or you can be tired, but when you're both, it's bad for everybody. And so I like to make sure the patients can at least have some rest. So
I
3 and
love it. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, I love
I'm
that.
not saying this would have been easy. 3 and 7. The other thing that people will complain about with the pills or any of these preps, it's such large volume, it can make some people nauseated. So
Yeah.
I do tell patients when you're taking the pill, take a pill, lay down on your right hand side, your stomach empties from the left side to the right hand side. That'll help your stomach empty into the small intestine. That minimizes your nausea.
I definitely felt nauseous. Now I had to set my timer for every 2 minutes so that I had a pill every 2 minutes. So you're saying lay down in between?
Yes. Take a pill with a sip of water, lay down, and I have my patients do one every 5 minutes. It takes them a little longer to do the prep, but that's fine. So, and they lay down on their right-hand side. Now, next time you get a migraine or a headache, take your aspirin, lay on your right-hand side, because it's going to get out of the stomach into the intestines where it can get absorbed into your body and help your headache better. Okay, so I see hanging out with me is so much fun, right, Carrie?
Hanging out with you is so much fun. I think in 5 years, when Peter has to get his next colonoscopy, we should come down to you. So, Dr. Anna, you are the best. So we've learned today all about the medical side of things, the dirty little secret that's going on. We learned about why blood sugar stabilization is so important for every metabolic function, including cancer, why colon cancer screening is super important. 45 is not a made-up number. They've been fighting for it for a very long time. What went on and how to have the best colonoscopy you can.
It is. Yeah, we go in and come out. Yeah, that we go on a hunt, and that's what we're doing. We're looking through puddles. We're sucking up puddles. We're looking for little polyps, and we remove them when we see them. That's what went on.
So, and then in 5 years, we're going to come down to Texas, and Peter's going to do his colonoscopy with you.
I've got a guest house. You can stay in a little guest house. It'd be fun.
This could be so much fun. I love this idea so much.
It'll be awesome.
You are the best for people to be able to find you, and you also have a gut check kind of course for people to learn directly from you, and I have taken it. It is incredible. Little bits of learning. You're right up my alley in terms of style. Little bits of learning over a period of time. So tell everybody where they can find you and check you out.
Yes, so our website is drannatoker.com. So drannatoker.com. And you will see kind of at the front landing page, gut health button. Click that and it'll give you the informational on our program. And it's that 1% learning each day, a little something different, a little nugget of something different that will totally help. And I try to make it as easy language, kind of like talking to a regular person, and just a little bit at a time, so it is not overwhelming.
This is what I love. Because Mark and I were saying, we just want everybody to be able to have a Dr. Anna Toker in their life, and now you can. So
I'm right there.
Thank you so much for all of your time. I know that you're so busy. You're just like, rocking and rolling with all your things. Where in Texas? Remind people where in Texas you are.
I'm in Mansfield, Texas, which is wedged in between Fort Worth and Dallas. So
that means your med spa is right there, right?
No, So my medical office is in my med spa. So really, we make everyone flip a coin when they walk in the door. Heads, you get the esthetician. Tails, get a colonoscopy.
You get the poop doctor. I love it.
So you better flip wisely. That's all I got to say.
So she's an amazing resource. I'm super excited to be able to share her with all of you. Look her up, check her out, and have your colonoscopy.
Yeah, have that colonoscopy. It's super important.
Thank you, Dr. Anna.
My pleasure. It's so nice talking to you again, Carrie.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.